violence or no other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, cyberspace? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
Well, good evening and thank you for joining everyone. I'm Cherie Skipson.
And I'm Katie Moore. A woman barely escaped with her life after a road rage shooting on I-10 in Jefferson Parish. One bullet came so close to hitting her, it knocked the sunglasses clear off her face.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable story. Sam Winstrom is live at the scene with more information. Sam, this just basically got out of control. What happened?
Well, Cherise, what started as seemingly a minor traffic incident nearly turned into a homicide today when somebody opened fire on I-10. And I spoke with the victims earlier today who said something this senseless and violent, there's just no reason for it to happen.
And I'm telling you, these super gremlins are spazzing on the streets. Spazzing. I've seen it myself here in Atlanta. There is no regard, no respect. It's just their way or you get left on the highway.
So we have one here.
4 bullet holes in her car and a trail of blood down her face. Stephanie Westenhaver knows how close she came to dying.
I'm extremely lucky, and I'm glad that God smiled upon me again today.
Driving on I-10 in Metairie, Stephanie hit her brakes at a traffic jam near Clearview Parkway. The car behind her swerved, crashing into the barricade in the middle of the interstate. Then, gunshots.
They fell back, they came behind me, they got to the right side of the vehicle, and they started shooting.
Wow. So they were upset. They were upset that she slammed on her brakes. And they obviously were not paying attention as well. Swerved off, hit the barricade, hopped out, and started blasting. Now, I don't know what's up with this. I guess this company is what they use for evidence markers, but I mean, they have an all-seeing eye on a brick pattern pyramid. Very sketch.
One bullet nearly killed her, shooting the sunglasses off of her face.
We could be investigating a murder here at this scene if the bullet trajectory is just another inch or two off, right?
Instead, Stephanie drove away from the shooting with only a graze wound. Thankfully, no one else was hurt.
The reality of these road rage incidents are horrible, that people can just escalate to shooting someone because they had to slam on the brake and wreck their own car. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yep.
Sheriff Joseph Lipin.
And they probably didn't have insurance or registration, because a lot of these super gremlins are riding dirty.
Said shootings like these are preventable and happen way too often. That's what Stephanie is worried about now, that maybe the next target won't be so lucky.
I'm very sad to see it escalating. This is a situation that's only going to lead to dead parents and dead babies.
Now that shooter is still on the run. Police describe their vehicle as an older model black Mercedes-Benz that is likely going to have front-end damage with that crash. If you know anything about it, call Crime Stoppers. Reporting live from Metairie, Sam Winstrom, Eyewitness News.
His neighbors are increasingly turning to private security forces to act as a deterrent to crime, especially more minor crimes like shoplifting or burglaries.
As David Jones reports, these security companies can act as a force multiplier, so to speak, for a department struggling with manpower.
He's walking by the Cantrell store. He's known for the shoplifting at the Walgreens.
In his job, Nicholas Neal sees quite a bit.
We get a lot of calls from the convenience stores around here, a lot of shoplifters around here. So much we do.
So they're hiring private security now because the people have understood or come to the understanding that the police can't protect them. You know, mass exodus going on in pretty much every police precinct across the United States that is blue. And the police do not want, it appears the police don't want to work for democratic regimes because they don't support them at all. They don't support them, even though they're keeping the black community safe as much as they can. It's ridiculous.
A security officer with Pinnacle Security, Neil is a deterrent to crime in the Garden District where he's assigned.
We just trying to let our presence be known that we know what's going on. We know what you're doing.
Yep.
With fewer NOPD officers and longer response times, in the 4 security districts Pinnacle serves, oftentimes they may be the first on the scene of a crime, especially crimes not ranked as high, like home burglaries. In one recent case in Lake Terrace, the crime was more serious.
And I just got that feeling.
This woman's son, who Fox 8 is not identifying, was shot in a robbery on
Wow.
Paris Avenue in late August.
And we drove down Paris where I knew he would be walking, and I saw these blue lights, and I immediately knew it was him.
He's a 24-year-old engineering student at the University of New Orleans. Now, his mother says he has little chance of ever walking again.
Wow.
Your life flashes before you. You can't believe that something so tragic could happen.
Oh, you better believe it, because these super gremlins are on demon time. I mean, people really need to watch my channel. Y'all gotta share the videos. Y'all gotta like the videos. Y'all gotta comment for the algo, because it just seems like people are just unaware. Overall, just unaware, or if it's cognitive dissonance. It is crazy out here.
In the blink of an eye, he was out doing something that all of us do. We all walk, and that we're not safe to do that, and that now he is facing potentially a very altered future is pretty shocking, frankly, as a mother.
A Pinnacle security officer parked less than a block away was the first on scene.
A lot of times we're there first because we're in the neighborhood. That's the only thing we're dedicated to.
Chad Perez is CEO of Pinnacle Security.
Lake Terrace Dispatch.
And what's going to happen when these private security firms start catching bodies? Start clapping these super gremlins because they have to.
If his hires have prior experience in law enforcement and all have at least 2 consecutive years of security experience. Perez says Pinnacle and other similar security companies can be a force multiplier for a police department struggling with manpower.
If we're aware of let's say a red truck that's committing armed robberies, those officers can be on the lookout for that red truck, and if they see it, they can follow it just like a citizen would, but gain more information and notify the NOPD.
Eyes and ears in neighborhoods, not replacing police, but supplementing them.
I think there's basic police services that police officers need to do. They're the only ones that are trained. They're the only ones that really at this time can legally do it. But I believe that whenever you can create an opportunity to have more eyes and ears out there as an extension that's reporting things back to the police department, there's tremendous value in that.
Perez says Pinnacle is working to expand to more security districts across the city. Meanwhile, the mother of that shooting victim says she wants to see justice. She says the investigation into the shooting is still ongoing. Lee.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Frederick Douglass, where a shooting just took place. And as you can see, it's a pretty rough area. So I'm basically risking my life reporting on this madness. So make sure you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Like the video, hell, share the video. And make sure you go ahead and leave a comment down in the comments section to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this son violence in the streets. I'm Janquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
My favorite story of the day, listen to this. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell defending her preference for first-class foreign flights, claiming it's for safety purposes, all while it's costing the taxpayers $30,000. Here's her quote: "My travel accommodations are a matter of safety, not of luxury. As all women know, our health and safety are often disregarded and we are left to navigate alone."
And this is crazy. She's trying to pull the woman card, i.e. the black woman card. You know, I think people have gotten tired of this victimization mentality. Like, what do you mean it's not safe for women to travel economy? Like, that is such BS. I thought we were equal. it should be just as safe for men to travel, or just as unsafe for men to travel economy too, if that's the case.
Anyone who wants to question how I protect myself just doesn't understand the world black women walk in.
And the thing is, the reality is, she's blaming it on, oh, it's the world black women walk in. Ma'am, are you aware that black women need protection from the super gremlins that they're protecting? As a matter of fact, she actually came to the support of a 14-year-old super gremlin who she was friends with his mama, and he was carjacking white women all around the city. Okay, so there you have white women being victimized, and she doesn't care. She's actually in the support of these super teen gremlins. So why should we care about her safety? Not to mention that black women need protection from the super gremlins that they are protecting. Let me repeat. Black women need protection from the super gremlins that they are protecting. There is no other threat to black women other than black men. I mean, it's just the sad reality, but if you don't believe me, just scroll down my page and watch for yourself.
We're talking the difference between First Class and Coach. Laura Rodrigue, a New Orleans attorney and founder of the Mama Bear Group, joins me now. Laura, should the FAA be doing more about the supposedly unsafe conditions in Coach plaguing all women, but specifically women of color?
Well, you know, we certainly know that that curtain that separates the First Class from Coach seems to be providing, you know, $30,000 worth of protection at the cost of the taxpayers in New Orleans. You know, this is just another example of how ridiculous this mayor has gotten in the city of New Orleans. And when you compare the fact that $30,000 is just the difference in cost from a coach seat versus a First Class, and the starting salary of our New Orleans Police Department is $40,000. So
wow, that's astounding.
You have to take that into consideration when we are the murder capital of the country right now, with one of the lowest police department employment rate. We just cannot keep police officers, and it's no wonder that, you know, the city has become the laughing stock of the country.
Such a critical point there on the difference in money. Mayor Cantrell's First Class flights this year have cost between $2,300 and $17,000.
Woo! She run up a check. She run up a bag.
Both to national and international destinations.
Flew out.
I mean, look at that on your screen. She could have done this for much cheaper, but didn't. What do you make of her lack of shame on this when her residents are literally struggling to buy food and gas?
Well, the lack of shame, unfortunately, we've sort of become accustomed to here. There is a complete disregard for the intelligence level of the citizens of Orleans Parish to think that any of us believe this. You know, women in New Orleans are most afraid to stop at a red light right now.
Yeah, and who's making them afraid? These super gremlins on demon time.
You know, you're going to get carjacked. There's a greater chance of getting carjacked in New Orleans at this point than not getting carjacked.
Yeah.
So the fact that she thinks any of us here in New Orleans believe that her safety in the area of Coach versus, you know, a few feet back in the First Class, or excuse me, a few feet forward in First Class would make the difference of $30,000 is simply ridiculous, especially when you consider the fact that her security team were sitting in Coach at the time she was sitting in First Class.
Yep, and so she owes the city of New Orleans compensation because, from my understanding, she is supposed to choose the most economically efficient seating during her travels, and anything that exceeds that or is extra, she can pay for it, but she has to compensate the city of New Orleans for it. It's almost like she gets a small loan to do these things in luxury, but she has to pay it back if she you know, wants to ride in a more luxurious spot on the flight.
So it just is so ridiculous at this point to think that anybody would believe that this was the truth. It's simply just her living off of the dime of the citizens of Orleans Parish and now boldly stating, I refuse to repay it. And there are several issues here that she could face down the line. There is a policy in place requiring her to repay that. There's also the fact that it could be criminal in nature. I mean,
Recall her. Recall it. She's corrupt completely.
it is technically a theft, the taking of something of value with the intent to permanently deprive it. It reaches a malfeasance in office. So there are several things here that certainly could come into play in the future.
You are helping lead the recall effort of the mayor, a recall effort, mind you, that is being led as well by two Democrats, started by two Democrats. That speaks volumes. Laura Rodriguez, thanks for joining us this morning. The story seems funny, but it is all too sad for the fine folks there in the beautiful city of New Orleans.
And my thing is, even if she gets recalled, she'll still be able to get another position within the Democratic Party. I guarantee somewhere else, maybe not in Louisiana, but somewhere else she'll get brought into the fold in another position of power. It's ridiculous.
Welcome to WGNO News. I'm Kurt Sprang.
And I'm Susan Rosejohn. Breaking news in Slidell tonight. An argument leads to a fatal shooting at a car dealership.
Within hours, cops had the suspect in handcuffs. WGNO's Anna McAllister is outside the Hyundai dealership just off of I-10 in Slidell. Anna.
Kurt, Susie, police are still on the scene here collecting evidence from that shooting. If you take a look behind me, right beyond this yellow tape, you'll see the garage, and that is where I'm told by police this fatal shooting occurred. Slidell police received a call about shots fired at this Hyundai dealership on East Howes Beach Road around 5:30 this evening. Police say 23-year-old Brian Taylor of Slidell shot and killed his coworker during an argument and then fled on foot. The victim was pronounced dead on the scene. Police searched for Taylor for about 4 hours and considered him to be armed and dangerous before he was eventually captured. Now, when we did ask police about what led up to this altercation, they did not give details about that. We also asked for the identity and the age of the victim, and that was also not released pending notification of the family. Kurt, Susie.
Anna McAllister reporting for us in Slidell tonight. Thank you, Anna.
This hour, we are following breaking news in Slidell. Police say the man wanted for shooting and killing his co-worker at the Hyundai dealership is in custody.
And David Jones is live at the Hyundai dealership.
My man clapped his co-worker. And a lot of these dealerships have been doing charity work and bringing on these ex-cons and ex-felons and super gremlins who are, you know, in the streets, water boys and whatnot. And they're bringing them in to do detailing and other menial tasks in order for them to rise up in the ranks. And this is how the dealerships are repaid. It's absolutely ridiculous. There is no respect for authority. I mean, it's something's got to be done.
Just off I-10. David, what can you tell us right now?
Well, I can tell you that we learned minutes ago police arrested 23-year-old Brian Taylor. Taylor was an employee at the Hyundai dealership. He shot and killed, according to police, another employee in the service garage. And we saw the coroner's van pull up just before 9 o'clock. And as you can see, this still remains an active scene. Police had notified that they have arrested the 23-year-old Slidell resident. Taylor is the suspected shooter in this incident. He was believed to be armed and dangerous, and police have been asking the public to stay away and to call 911. Police Chief Randy Fandel says they were called out to Hyundai off Howes Beach Road around 5:30. This is right off I-10. They say Taylor, an employee at the dealership, walked into the service garage and fired at least one shot, hitting and killing another male employee. We do not know the name or age of the victim. Chief Fandel couldn't say what led up to the shooting. He did say Taylor fled on foot into the area behind the dealership. This was a mostly wooded area with some houses interspersed. Not a heavily populated part of Slidell, but there are some homes back there. Police were searching for Taylor. We did see them launch a drone to aid in the search, and they say Taylor fled on foot. Again, police say Taylor has been arrested and is now in custody. We're expecting to learn more, and Slidell police say that they'll be providing a full update tomorrow. For now, we're live in Slidell. David Jones, Fox 8, Local First.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
So it is what it is.